generically grown produce. But anyway, I'm not going to talk anymore about that. I'm going to leave it to Colman, and thank you very much for coming and look forward to this talk.
I suppose, thanks for having me. It's great to literally see everyone all happy, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed up here on, I'm going to say, an afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Colman Power. I'm an organic grower, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a nutritionist, and I've been saying this for about a year. I'm the healthiest guy in Ireland, right? That's what I'm saying, and no one's come up against me yet. So I'm hoping there might be a competition maybe later down the line, male or female. I'm up to having the chats, but I only say that for the fun of it. So the whole idea of it is, like, I love everything to do with, I'm going to say, being healthy, and organic food is up there because the foods that you eat have a massive effect on the way you look, the way you feel, and how much energy levels you guys have. And the idea is, I used to be as healthy as I am here today, 34. I'm a Waterford man, I'm from Kilmeaden originally, and we'll see some of these images from different polytunnels that I work in, and God, it's great to see them in high definition. You can see the footprints here up there. Great to have it. It was actually a period we didn't think we would have the PowerPoint presentation working, but I'm so glad that we do. And for the most part, like, I could talk here for 2 hours without a presentation. I did that there only just a week just gone. I was just chatting with someone before we started. I'm going from here on Friday. I go then to Cork. I go to the likes of Limerick, and then I go to Mullingar, and that's kind of a full circle of different talks on nutrition and different talks on growing, because it's very topical right now. A lot of people are getting back into growing, and that's the whole thing about it. We don't have to go that far back that we had our own carrots, our own spuds. I harvested spuds today and had it with fish from, I got from the fishmongers, literally in Kilmeaden, just in the van. Do you know what I mean? And he comes to Dungarvan as well. And the idea is you can get that from Super Valley as well. Always keep it local. Get fresh greens, whether you're growing your own or going into the local, I'm going to say, stores around here. Like, Waterford's great. And Dungarvan is brilliant for it. And we just need to either, the whole thing that I say is literally either grow your own or buy it, but whatever you do, can add it to your diet. Like, those tomatoes there, like that time of year, I'm able to tell it's probably maybe June, I'd say, because I still have some of my winter salads, which is rocket in here. We can talk a little bit about those. They're really small oriental salads that I have. Then my summer salads are here. My climbing French beans that are all trained up a beautiful string line, which is a great way of, I'm going to say, maximising the space of your tunnel, where it's a 60 foot by 30 that lovely one is, with the raised benches on the right hand side of it, and underneath I have different, I'm going to say, compots in buckets, and that's, I'm going to say, nettle. There's some seaweed that are all natural fertilizers. And just remember, like, we didn't have synthetic fertilizers, which is used in commercial growing not that long ago, and even our grandparents or our parents for that matter. The idea is they didn't have the money to spend on fertilizers. They used literally whatever was on the land, right? And that's what we need to get back to real foods to gain real health out the other side of it. And I suppose during that time, when I was based down in Cork, I suppose I had to come back then over the border, over to the blue and white, eventually, as the fella says, right? And now I'm based here for the minute, and I love it, because the fact is, it was great to learn all those different things from doing my master's degree in UCC, but putting it back into practice and doing different grow your owns and meeting people in person is something that I am a firm believer in. But what actually happened while I was actually down in Cork, it's very hard, straight up, to make money off fruits and vegetables. That is the God honest truth. Why? Because you're competing with the likes of the discount stores, selling things for 49 cents, and the idea of a tomato. Who here has ever tasted a homegrown tomato? Lovely, that's what I like to hear. What did it taste like? Amazing. I couldn't pay you literally to say that. That's the thing, right? Those foods, whether it's an apple, it's fresh rocket or mensuna, that's just here at the edge of the tunnel. Those are oriental salads that you can grow at this time of year, in fact, all year round, and they like the harsh conditions. So in 12 months of the year, you can have a grown area, whether it's a raised bed and or a polytunnel, producing real foods. And remember, every vitamin and mineral, iron, magnesium, vitamin C, found in those greens and those or anything else that you grow for yourself, right? Most people that often come to me say, Colman, what supplements, what coffee are you drinking? I don't even drink coffee, right? I drink a glass of water just to quench the thirst. And that's literally all it is. I'm working with people online. I get them to literally do simple things, eat real foods, I get them to move. The oldest individual that I'm training at the minute is 75 years old online. Yeah, coming online, doing a weekly workout routine that's based off them, doing body weight squats, raising their hands, touching their toes, opening up their hips, all right? All about flexibility. He's going to the likes of, he's based in County Leitrim, goes to a country market, buys his fruits and vegetables and meats from a local butcher, comes back and he's healthier out the other side of that. So this whole talk is literally about real foods, growing it, and the lifestyle of it, because that's what I teach. It's a lifestyle. I don't have any particular diet. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian. I had fish today. I'll eat, I'm going to say, the likes of black pudding. I'll eat offal. I eat all those things that come from the land that we've eaten for centuries, and that's what I want more people to do in itself. So it's just a couple of examples of things that are growing and should be sown right now. Is the likes of leeks. They are probably the easiest vegetable to grow. If I was to quickly, amazing, find them here, all right? What I'm just going to do is going to literally pass them around. You can open up the packet and just look into it. Who here will be able to tell me what colour a leek seed is? Black in colour. Yeah. I wonder, is there any significant smell? I couldn't swear I've ever smelled them. Interesting. Yeah, I'm just going to pass that around. This is the idea of getting familiar with what seeds look like, as well as what the taste of foods actually should be. Because the things for 49 cents, lads, just to tell you, and we'll get back to that point, foods can't be produced for 49 cents. And if those foods are, I'm going to say, quote unquote, cheap, they are nearly, the cost of it is lost far beyond the likes of the counter, either by the soil, someone's been spraying the soil to reduce down the labour for the weeds, the idea of the poor individual, whether it's male or female, picking it has lost out on it, and or the idea of the farmer's lost out and not got a proper, I'm going to say, wage for having those things grown on his land and then shipped in, harvested, packaged, delivered to a shop, and for quote unquote 49 cents or anything close to less than €1 is absolutely madness. So leeks sown typically in the month of January and February and harvested from September onwards, depending on the variety, and can sit in the ground and be harvested all the way through 2025 and into 2026 if they're left in the ground. So that's an absolute no-brainer for anyone. They have very few pests, they have very few diseases, and literally you put them into the likes of, I'm going to say, a tray, we'll be looking at those, a 96 cell tray or a 77 cell tray, or any pots that you have for the most part. And I just use one of the better ones that have a little hole to pop out at the end of the tray. They have very few pests, very few diseases, and I'm going to say larger spacing is something we'll definitely talk about, because with organic growing, people often say to me, Colman, what do you do when you have the likes of black fly or any other pest or disease? A black fly can often occur on the likes of broad beans as well as a fruit or vegetable. So flowers and plants, not necessarily my expertise. That'd be like, kind of suppose, going to the doctor and asking, more certainly, would you have a look at the likes of my teeth? Not his area of expertise, but he'd have a fair idea of telling you. But it's something to do with, it's always, prevention is very important. Prevention is better than cure. So the idea is increasing the spacing of whatever food item that it is you're growing. So that black fly is very common on the likes of broad beans. The broad beans are high protein and they contain fibre, and are something that increasing the spacing reduces stagnant air. Stagnant air, I'm sure of it, is if you increase the spacing of your roses as well, will have less likely to have, I'm going to say, that pest on them. So a lot of people plant roses close together and want the lovely flushes, so there's no soil, I'm going to say, be able to be seen from the top. But if you increase that spacing, it's less likely for that to most certainly occur. And encouraging, definitely another tip for growing, encouraging areas where lovely pollinators can most certainly hide, like the likes of, I'm going to say, ladybirds. Ladybirds naturally eat black and green fly. Right? So not spraying the periphery edges. This is lovely and neatly done because I did it. That's why. That's the first thing. I absolutely love straight lines. Love it neat, love it tidy. All right, and that just makes it so much easier. Okay, and I could cram in loads more there, but with those, just as I say, those spacings and a special hoe. I wish I had it now. It's called an oscillating hoe. Has anyone ever heard of it? Brilliant little tool, right? If you don't know what it is, do a quick Google there, oscillating hoe, or writing it down. See some people taking notes. Is something that's going to be beneficial for you. You don't have to bend down ever again for the likes of those weeds. You can really take the head, clean off them, and try root them up as best you can, and leave them sit on the likes of the ground. That will literally then break down because of that warmer temperatures. It's definitely something that you can do in a tunnel nearly all year round. But outside, in the warmer conditions at times of the year, you literally just hold those weeds, leave them there, and the nutrients go back into the likes of the soil. So that's something you can do in itself, yeah? So that saves you. Oh, jeez, picking up them. Who here's pain their back in that time? Oh, geez, I do too. And I got sick of that. And who actually taught me all about growing is a really good friend of mine and a mentor, still a mentor, Klaus Leitenberg. Anyone ever hear of him? Yeah, lovely man, and he's written several books. And if he was one of the first talks I ever did, a good few years ago now, but he was sitting on the back, and I said, who taught me? A really good friend of mine, mentor, Klaus. And I said, he taught me everything that I know, and now I know more than him. The whole crowd laughed out that. I love just saying that, like he was here. But no, he's brilliant. If you ever haven't checked him out, I'd highly recommend him. He's someone who's a wealth of knowledge, and the idea is it's with experience you gain knowledge. Hands in the ground, sowing the seeds, harvesting the fruits and the vegetables in itself. So those plants there are tomatoes. We have a beautiful crop here. I'm going to take a guess what that one is there on the right hand side. Okay, it's from the Nebraska family, correct? Yeah, well done. This one here on the broccoli it is. Yeah, that's broccoli there. Yeah, very similar, I suppose, say, to Romanesco. Anyone ever heard of Romanesco? Yeah, Romanesco is such a beautiful crop. I suppose I was lucky enough to have one ready to rock and rumble, and this year has been very good to me. I've been on different, I'm going to say, shows, whether it's on News Talk or it's on the television, and I've been saying it, and things what you say will certainly happen twice in reality, once in your mind and the next in real life. I've been telling people that I'm going to be on, I'm going to say, the likes of the Late Late Show, so I'm waiting for that phone call. If the phone rings, I might have to go just for 2 minutes and say, I'll be on in a minute. I'll get back to you. But because I firm believer that I have enough energy to pass on as well as information about this topic of, I suppose, organic foods, because it's different. The whole world of organic means it's grown without the likes of harsh chemicals, and glyphosate is one of those ones that is just not to scare you. It's something that's sort of carcinogenic. It's something I wrote about in the book, and we live in a great county that produces a really good high quality, I'm going to say, oat, which is Flavin's oats. You can get them organically for an extra 50 cents, and it's something, remember, right, the first thing that hits your stomach every morning. That's really important for gut health, right? And gut health is a huge part of courses that I do online with people and information that I pass on, because your gut is connected to your brain, right? And with the foods that you eat on a regular basis, if you're having porridge, you should definitely add in an organic source for an extra 50 cents. And I think you're worth every 50 cent that you put into your body. So for 50 cent extra, you can really gain the advantage of something that's a carbohydrate that gives you energy. And just to inform you, not scare you, if it's a non-organic oat, it's sprayed, the grain is sprayed with the booms of the tractor out left and right to dry it off. Just speeds it up. And some people will tell you in stats online and everything else, they will go, do you know what, I'm going to tell you, it's okay in small amounts, but I know what I'd rather have less of in my diet for an extra couple of cents, if you get me. So that's just, I suppose, just all piece of information that we'll pass on to you guys in itself. We'll skip in around here. So I suppose a little bit about my background, just even quickly. I studied horticulture, and I was meant to do, what I was hoping to do in college, sports. So I said, right, lovely stuff. Went to Kilmac, Thomas the Tech. Couldn't tell you what year, but anyway, a couple of years ago. And the idea is I didn't do any study. I wasn't a great student. You probably tell that anyway. So the idea was I got less than 300 points, which is well under half, and the sports was 300 and something. And as a result of that, then second choice on the CAO was horticulture. So my mother and father, I don't have a background, I don't have a huge farm at the back of the home house or anything. My mother and father are psychiatric nurses. Yep, that's what they are. And I suppose there is a heritage of my grandparents on both sides having a little bit of land and looking after, whether it was dairy, whether it was geese, and it was looking after chickens and producing them for Meals on Wheels in Clonmel, my father's from, and mother's from Youghal. So it isn't necessarily in my direct family, but it's in my indirect blood out the other side of it. So after, I'm going to say, I studied horticulture in college. I went on to the likes of UCC, where I studied a master's, being pushed and shoved and kicked out the door, and make sure you go to college and get the best qualification you can. That was it. And I did. I had a fair bit of grit, passed all my exams, spelling mistakes, you name it. And after getting a master's degree, the only job that I could get, because I had all the qualifications in the world, I was like, yes, world, let's be having you. A master's degree in my back pocket, lovely stuff. Went in, handed in CVs left and right, and next thing, they said to me, John Murphy says to me one time, I was applying for a job up in a nursery, and he says, Colman, you have a great qualification, but you have no experience. I said, you know what, John, how in the name of God am I going to get experience if you don't give me a goddamn thing? And he says, right, I'll give you a start. So I got a job, and I started off in a hydroponic system there in Ballygunner. And I started at 5:30 in the morning. That's Grantstown's nursery. And lads, if you've ever been in a glasshouse, I've been in it for 6 hours, with the doors closed, and the heat was increased inside that. Oh my God. I lasted 6 months. And I was working with Eastern Europeans, and by God, them lads can work. And I don't mind work or even hard work at all. I'd work as my damnedest. And we're paid on piece rate. Okay, hydroponics is where the system is run. It actually can't be registered as organic because hydroponics in itself is something that's not grown in soil, and for it to be registered with two of the Irish governing bodies in Ireland, it must be grown in soil. So just to try and find a logo for you guys, let's pick out something here. So it must have, lovely stuff, it must have that green logo that's slightly damaged by the water, and it must be registered by Organic Trust or IOFCA. I just passed that around just again to show you guys literally the different logos to look out for on whether it's a food product and or the likes of your seeds. Okay, that's well worth noting in itself. And the seeds which I do recommend people to get organically is from a small company based in Limerick. It's Seeds Ireland. I have a discount code because I'm an influencer now. I'm delighted to say it. It's Colman 5, and he's a fella called Brian. He's I'm going to say roughly around the same age as myself, 35, and he delivers literally straight to your door. There's a wide range of stuff. There's potato seeds, there's onion sets that I get him off as well, and those are things that I would love to support. Again, a local Irish man as opposed to buying things from Holland or elsewhere. Right, that's just where I get mine itself. So I spent 6 months at that, and after that I said, geez, there must be a better way, lads, to get experience. So as any 24-year-old certainly does, I got promoted and I got head sweeper. And I didn't enjoy that one either, so that was after having a chat with the boss. So I decided at the age of 24 I would immigrate. So immigrated and told my father I'm going over to Australia. I'm going to get a great job in the likes of over there in the lovely warm climate, and maybe head to Sydney, head to Perth. And he said, right, okay, I trust you, I headed off. And as a result of that, after the first week I couldn't get a job, same scenario, second week, third week, fourth week, and after that then I went hurling with a crowd over there. And what happened was they gave me a job on a building site. They gave me a job as a labourer, and for $40 an hour I swept floors like never swept before. I tell you what, I was the best. I cleaning toilets, and the boss was like, Jesus, did you clean the toilets? I have to clean them twice. That's all the floors swept. And the idea was, do you mean, I really just want to be, I suppose, productive as I possibly can. So I spent a year and a half over there, and long story short, I came back for a holiday. But I ended up staying and playing 1 or 2 hurling matches, and in 2016 with my brother we won the county final in Waterford. I can't remember who we actually bet. We went on to the Munster final and we got bet by Mayfield. Jeez, the lads in Cork, they haunt me. But yeah, that's I suppose how I got started. And then from that then I set up that first market garden. I saw a site down in Cork with a walled garden, and had nothing, literally a greenfield site, but I had all this the energy and theory behind sowing the seeds. You'll see different photographs. Gee, that's actually looking very good. I'm going to save myself. There's no weed in sight there. But the hose really do help, right? But it's key, right? I had a routine and a plan, whether it's your lifestyle or it's the fruits or vegetables that you're growing. Like I just religiously, I'm going to say, doing things that people want to do on a Friday night, they go off. I didn't go off drinking. I went up and I did the hoeing and I did the harvest, and then on a Saturday morning I was bringing to the markets. I was bringing to the likes of Kinsale. I was going into Bandon Market. I was delivering to the likes of different restaurants, and the idea was really I loved it. I lived it, I breathed it, I ate it, and I gained advantage of it as well. So having different, glass houses was something that I upgraded to. With that was most certainly in combination. And on these farms, it wasn't my own land. I was renting it, and he was putting in input for lovely glass houses and polytunnels. But there was no other seed or lad sowing the seeds, harvesting the veg, going in on a bank holiday Monday, and it didn't matter whether it was Valentine's Day or it was my birthday. I had to be there. So that's the whole thing about it. Those different crops in there now are, to tell you, these are squash, right? And a variety of squash I highly recommend. I'm sure it's here. Yes, it is. I'm going to pass that round again. Give it a smell of it. There's actually 2 things in there. So the first one is fenugreek seeds. That's one of the highest antioxidant seeds that you can get. Right? That's both edible. They're dried out now. And a Crown Prince squash. Anyone ever heard of it? It is this. If we could have it here now, you could literally cook it and literally have it like a cake, right? At different times of the year, you can have that. You sow them typically in April. You can look at the seeds. They're the same family as pumpkin seeds. That's crown prince, right? Pumpkin seeds are high in magnesium. People who are taking magnesium seeds, throw them out the window. I don't, right? You can just eat, you can keep eating your magnesium, but add these to your diet for fibre, which again, people are taking the supplements, and the likes of magnesium, which helps you with sleep and anxiety, and the likes of muscle pains and aches. So that's the crown prince seeds, which once you buy one packet, you can save the seeds over and over again. And that's a skill in itself. There's seeds up there, top left, that are from the rocket that was there in the previous image. That was the other angle of it. We were looking all the way up this way. That's the rocket gone to flower. And any of the brassicas, are so easy for the seeds to save. So if people say to me, oh, Colman Bean, I'm going to say healthy is really, really difficult, I'll tell them, do you know what, and it's really expensive even, in fact they often mention, do you know what, I said, do you know what, if you're really short, so what I'll do, I'll give you literally your first €5, and the packet of seeds only costs $2.50, and as a result of that you buy 2 of them, whatever seeds you want to buy, and as a result of that you'll grow the crop. Let's say it's rocket, it'll literally flower, will save the seeds, and you'll have an abundance of seeds left over the next year, and you can sell them to all your friends and family members, and you owe me literally €10 because of inflation, right? That's what I tell them, right? That's how I make me money. No, but the idea is a packet of seeds is $2.50 organically from the likes of that crowd I just mentioned to you, Seeds Ireland, and anybody can get their hands on those packet of seeds, and you can have an abundance of food, an abundance of seeds for you and all this different community that you have of people here in front of you. So that's what I'd highly recommend to more and more people. And that is, I suppose, where it leads me on to like healthy soil, right? This is the orchard that I set up. It's 69 different fruit trees. I love it. Apple, pear, plum, cherry, of all different varieties. The key thing is they're also M9 varieties. M9 is a small stature tree. There's M9, I learned it in college, there's M26 and there's MM106. I don't know why they're trying to confuse us. Small, medium and large. That's what it is, right? I break it down to as simple as I possibly can because I'm a simple man. And that is something that I have been passing on to people. If you want a tree or an orchard in your community, you buy M9 varieties. It will not grow any taller than the likes of I'm going to say 5'7" is what I am, 6 foot tall. You'll be able to harvest it, and any child really, when they grow up, without getting, I say, a huge ladder and falling off the ladder. Pick it. The varieties that I highly recommend are old traditional maybe Irish varieties, and ones such as Katie, Discovery, John O'Go Red. Those are the varieties to literally get yourself, I'm going to say, as soon as you possibly can. And this month, and I would say lean towards March, would be the latest that I would recommend people to plant those trees. That's the dormant season until the buds start to come out. That's probably just about when the leaves are starting to emerge there in March or April. Okay, and everyone sees some of them stones that are there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone wants to take a guess of what the stones are kind of doing and why they're doing that. Drainage. Yeah.
They're bending the branches down so that they're more reachable. They're growing into a
yeah, good. They're definitely, and that's one reason. Yeah, because a lot of branches might have been grown up like that. So if we're bending down the branches, why else might you bend down the branches? I love this interaction. What's that? Is someone say espalier? Yeah. Yeah, that I might have a photograph of that very shortly. I'd say, not the next slide. Espalier is typically far. I would label it as in a straight line as you would grow it up against the wall. But yeah, I'm forming, I suppose, an espalier shaped tree. Any other reasons why I might bend down a branch? Other than
the pollination and that.
For pollination, yeah, because it was a good guess in itself. I'll tell you why I did it in more so. When you bring down the branches, okay, from an upright horizontal position, that's typically for leafy growth. This is for flowering, and every flower turns into a fruit. That's the tip of the day if you're writing down stuff today. Tip of the day. If you can, on any tree you can do that. And they're just literally a standard block that was thrown off of the building site. I tie a bit of twine around it, back around, but I also do have a cushion. I have a cushion around the like to the neck of the string that goes back down to stop it rubbing. Because I tell you guys, if people put cable ties on trees, they do not loosen. And in fact, take it tighter, and the wind blows when we're inside in the lovely weather with the feet up against the stove, and that's when the rubbing starts, and you can't literally turn back time, and then there's an opening wound, and the wound then turns into a pest or disease, and it gets, I'm going to say, some disease, maybe like canker, which is literally the cancer of fruit trees, and you're down a tree then. Okay, so using soft ties, very important, and cushioning around it is definitely beneficial. Also, things that are laid down here is wood chip. Okay, but not only that, it's cardboard, then wood chip. Okay, that's literally firstly using something recycling and feeding the likes of the soil. Beneficial microorganisms, there's them located in the likes of your gut, but also in on top of that, it's something that gives not only feeding the soil, but also it's something that prevents and makes it so much easier to do your weeding. How easy would it be to pull up a creeping buttercup out of that as opposed to having to dig up all the grass around it? Way handier. These are small tips that I've tried and tested and go, that's a great method. I'd recommend it to anybody. I go into schools. I was in Tramore school today, and as a result of that, we planted fruit trees. We put the cardboard down on top of the grass. We dug a hole, turned the sod upside down, put the cardboard on top, put the wood chip above it, and as a result of that, that's literally weed suppressing for, I'm going to say, a good period of time. And after that, when the weeds do come, you shake them off, give them a rake of the hoe, turn them upside down, and the wind will literally kill them from the night, do the job for me. Leave the nutrients go back in. If you don't like the sight of them, you pick them up, you can do a job on it, and put them into the bucket and put them into your compost heap. So I suppose chemical-free ways to keep your growing area organically or chemical-free as best you possibly can, because the idea is it's not what's actually extra in organic food, it's more so what's not in it. Yeah, and that's what I want to do. Because how many people have ever got an apple and tried to rub it and rub it and rub it? There's still something stuck like a waxy kind of thing on it. I'm not here to scare you again. That's literally the chemicals that we cannot wash all off. We can't wash it off. We can peel them. You can peel them, right? But also, Ireland's a great country for growing fruit. We can grow the best of apples. Pears like a little more sun, so we either have to bring the pears to, say, Spain if you can in the suitcase, or you train them up up against the wall, which I'll show you very shortly, which is something that most houses can gain the advantage of. Okay. And they will ripen that a little bit quicker as well. Pears have higher fibre than apple. So if you've been recommended, or if you don't have irregular bowel movements, which is very important, being a nutritionist, we kind of have to talk about that. It's okay. We should be going to the toilet once a day. If you're not going to the toilet once a day, it's something that you're holding on to toxins. That's why a lot of people actually suffer with bowel cancer, because they're holding on to the stuff the body's meant to get rid of on a regular basis. Fibre is found in every fruit and vegetable. The best fruits and vegetables are the ones that you either grow your own or you buy chemical free or organic. Right? Simple tips I will always pass on to you. And here, this is lovely as well. If any of you guys most certainly want to start growing in a weed free site, I recommend you to start in the winter months. Okay, this is a grass area similar to here. You put on manure. You cover over with plastic that's been thrown out that covers the timber inside in the co-op in the local inside in town. As a result of that, you put it down in October. No light gets to it in October, November, December, January, February. We peel this back and we have the lovely sunny weather we had today, right? Nothing grows without light. The three things that a plant needs to grow, and or weed or fruit or vegetable, is soil, water, and sunlight at the top. When you literally take out the sunlight, the pyramid falls, nothing grows. All plants need life. Humans need life for energy. So sunlight is actually very important. And something I'd always discuss with people. And it's morning sunlight and evening sunlight is absolutely essential. A lot of people talk about the problems with sun. Without it, we can't be healthy. Without it, plants can't grow. The idea is when you see it at sunrise or sunset, it's improving your sleep, but it's also helping you to naturally wake up. Okay, so that's something that we can definitely incorporate into a lifestyle. When you get out there, go out there in the morning, when you go out on your evening walk, and it's getting brighter and brighter, which is great to see. I suppose it helps us all for being a little more active, and walking is the minimum requirement of exercise that I do recommend. Sowing seeds, love it. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? Jesus Christ, alright. Who did that? So, sowing seeds. That compost that I cannot recommend to you enough. I should be sponsored by now at this stage. Classman compost. Have some of you heard of it before? Yes. It's so fine. It's literally one of the best things you can literally grow seedlings in. It gives you a much higher success rate. I'm pretty sure that's 100 because I wouldn't have put it up there otherwise on my lovely stat. It is something that grows high quality seedlings. Most people sow things and then they don't end up germinating and they pull out their hair and go, geez, I can't grow anything. Starting with cheap little Aldi compost is not what I recommend. It's way rougher, and seeds are just like babies. You wouldn't put your baby out into the rough, harsh conditions. You wouldn't. I wouldn't put my lovely seedlings inside anything else other than that. You don't have to do what I recommend, but I only recommend the best to you, right? That's the truth off the back. And like, when you do it, you're going, Jesus, it's actually working. That's how simple it is. The bags are, it might be double, maybe in some cases, depending on where you get it, it might even be 3 times, it could be €20 for a bag of it. But you will gain so much more because you cannot get back time in the likes of growing. That's one of the things. Yeah, fruit farm is a very good place to get it. Once you literally, I'm going to say, go past the month of March, you can't go back into March till 12 months on again. So that's well worth noting in itself. Can't get back time. Key is watering, right? So a lot of people will ask me, how much water? Right? Firstly, it depends on how thirsty you are, depending on the room. So it actually is quite warm in here. So even if you have a glass of water, take a drink out of it. When you're in a polytunnel or a glass house, things have to be watered more than if they're outside. So for me to tell you the exact amount of watering, it depends on the temperature, depends on the time of year, and it also depends on the plant and the plant stage. So a tomato at the early stage would actually want more because it obviously starts off as a tiny little seed inside the tomato. There's a little embryo that you can actually, I'm going to say, if you didn't want to get seeds throughout your, I'm going to say, the next 12 months, you can either collect seed from a friend or a family member who is growing one tomato, and from that literally tomato, how many seeds would be in a standard cherry tomato? How many?
30.
30, yeah, it could be 30 odd, you wouldn't know, so we'll just call it 30. From one of those 30, you take off the little embryo that's literally around the seed, which stops it from germinating inside the tomato. From that, you literally put it on a piece of cardboard, dry it out for 48 hours, and that is ready to rock and roll for either next year, because you're saving it. It typically is after coming into season in July or August or September. From that, from next February, and this is the tip, right? I never ever forget to sow my tomato seeds. Why? Because I absolutely love them, and I sow them on Valentine's Day. Alright, there you go, so you won't forget it. Sow them as early as you can in February, alright? And the idea is, right, they are something that are, again, a natural mood improver. They taste like sweets. Kids, when can't get enough of them, you've been putting them away. And that's actually what we're trying to get people to do. I try and get people to do, whether it's friends or family members or communities or schools, get them tasting not only tomatoes, but get them tasting peas, get them tasting apples. They'll eat them, and that's what you want kids doing. Eating the foods that literally that you guys ate, and the idea is you were part of that generation that were jumping over walls, that were going in and jumping and picking the apples and running back out, and Johnny Murphy's there swinging something around trying to catch you back out of it, right? Those type of apples, right, aren't the common thing anymore, right? It's the pink shagging ladies that come from Holland. Yeah, and figure things from Holland. And you credit that, right? That's true, someone says. I tell you, of course it's true. I'm only talking the simple truth of all the different things. We get half our spuds shipped in from Cyprus in Europe. Are you joking me? What are we doing? We've just gone to literally... as a nation, we've chosen to go into the shops, the discount stores, and supporting them when we've stopped supporting the local growers. And Mairead was meant to be here, and she's a super, I'm going to say, grower based here in Dungarvan, right? She's getting back into it now. She's only just after having one of her first children, and I'm going up to her to give her a hand there next week, and that's what it's about. Like, I'm gladly going up to her, as do you know what I mean? As a friend, we're going up there, we're going working for the day, we'll be sowing the best of seeds. She'll have me mucking out, and it's great fun. Do you know what I mean? When you have a couple of people that are doing it together, that are having a bit of crack and joking about it. Geez, fair play to you, Colman, for filling in there. Dungarvan, you're a great fella. Last minute. She rang me last week. Say no more. But lucky to get here. But the idea is, I'm super grateful to be here and talking about this topic. And the idea is, I would love you to support her in any way, shape or form, going into the likes of the local health food stores, and most certainly I'm sure she should be here at a different date as well. So, peas, lads. Peas, absolutely unbelievable crop of them, right? But they must have some sort of a frame to climb up. That is chicken wire put up against, I think it's, I don't know, an 8-foot post there. So it's probably, yeah, so that's it, probably, that's my good friend who's after passing away. That's Michael O'Connor, based from Timoleague, but he's probably roughly close to 6 foot, and another 2 foot on top of him is the post in itself. We put chicken wire up probably 4 foot, and from that we had to add on different strings to keep it growing. And it's such a beautiful flower. A lot of people who here would grow like sweet peas. Yeah, love it. What I love growing is something that I get to eat. Yeah, and that's in college, that's what happened. It was like, Colman, you have a chance now. Would you like to go plants, and would you like to go trees, or would you like to go fruits and vegetables? And I was like to myself at home, right, I put in the same amount of time for the fruit and vegetables as I do for the trees and the shrubs. and I get to eat these, and I don't get to eat them. Right, okay, I'm going this way. Right, so I went straight for the food, and I never turned back. So that's it in itself. They're lovely, they're decorative, they flower, but every one of those flowers turns into that beautiful, sweet pea that literally kids will eat. They won't even be able to bring. You'll be like, go out to the garden there to bring in the peas. They'll go out, they'll come back in. How many did you get? I ate them all. Do you know, I ate them all. Ate them all. And that's not only the kids. People are nodding. I hear someone say, that's not the kids only. Yeah, that happens to us as well, because they're lovely, right? And again, plant-based protein, most people don't eat and consume enough of it, and it's great to have fibre in it, also good for your gut health. That's spinach laid out across the front, and even in between there, another, I'm going to say weed, not only weed suppressant, but more so a calcium soil addition to your ground growing areas is the likes of eggshells. Slugs don't like that on their lovely, soft, slimy belly. So do everything you can to do and deter the likes of the slugs. Okay? So getting, and eggs are another nature's multivitamin I'd highly recommend more people to get, and is one of the sections I often mention in the book. So I grab your eggshells, so an egg a day or a couple of eggs a day, right, crush them up and then sprinkle them. Right? So we actually had, not too far away from us, we had someone who was a local egg producer. I had all the eggshells I could possibly get at any one time. Great. They're like glass. It's like glass. Imagine a slug. Slugs do not like that. Other little tips that we'll talk about for preventing slugs is on the entrance and the exit of your tunnel, don't ever water it. That's where the slugs come in. They do not like to. We can go back to that. I'm sure we can go back on this. I certainly can. They do not like to go across that dry, arid condition there. No, they don't. Right? And there's very few slugs down. And I'm not going to say it's 100% a solution problem, because slugs are everywhere. Slugs are absolutely everywhere, but it reduces it and minimises it as much as we possibly can. Right? So there's another tip, definitely, to reduce the water that you apply at the doors of your polytunnels. It is easier on a bigger scale because it's a larger door, so it's a larger area for them to have to cross. Next thing that I would also recommend is your time of watering, which kind of goes on to that topic of watering that we could talk the whole hour about. The idea is the times that you do it. The best time to do the watering is not when you've had a lovely, I'm going to say, stressful day and you have to go, oh my God, let's go out to my polytunnel or glass house or out to my plants, and it's 7 or 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the evening, you water the whole place, and you've literally created a beautiful environment for the likes of those slugs to go, oh, thanks be to God, someone says, I'm straight on in here now. And as a result of that, you will literally create that condition that they, I'm going to say, love. So it's morning time. Morning time, lovely, moist soil conditions. Sinks then when the increase in temperature comes. As a result of that, you're back in the evening with drier conditions so that the slugs are less likely to come in. So there's another massive tip in itself from watering. Yeah, because slugs is always a topic that I'm going to say comes up when I am talking about growing. Right, so again, there's that broad bean that I was talking about there with the nasturtiums, and also there is probably another later crop of it with the peas and netting. Underneath there, anyone like to take a guess what it is? Cabbage, lovely, greyhound cabbage, beautiful stuff. Bacon, cabbage, spuds, literally. You can grow 3 out of the 4, and there is, and I love connecting people, so I've just after completing lovely challenge for myself. Cycle from Donegal all the way down to West Cork, and I'm not even a cyclist. I had to get a lint on my mother's bike on the first training session that I did. So the idea is we highlighted organic and regenerative farms all across Ireland. Starting in Donegal was veg, then we went to beef, then we went to pork, pig, eggs, all the way down fruits, goats, down the country. And as a result of that, there's a woman called Siobhan Hubbard called New Barn Farm in the likes of Lismore. Anyone heard of her yet? That's great, because now I've just told absolutely every one of you guys here today. Yeah, she produces free range pork, right? And not all food is created equally. New Barn Farm, right? She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram. She sells directly to the likes of her customers from her house in Lismore. She also delivers to Arkeen as of last month, and I'm sure she's going to venture into the likes of Dungarvan, which is closer to her. She just gone into Arkeen store, so I'm sure the next venture will be closer to home here. So that's New Barn Farm. And
New Barn or New Barn?
Barn, I'm pretty sure. B-A-R-N. Yeah, Siobhan Hubbard is the likes of the producer of that. Yeah. So definitely well worth a check out. And the idea is, again, it's free range animals, back to what we most certainly were all reared on. Good quality food, whether it's fruits or vegetables, meats or eggs. I want people to eat the best type of food. And I'm highlighting all these farms. I don't get a kickback off any of those individuals. I'm just pointing out the things, because when I was and still am growing up at 34, heading for 35, the idea is I want to eat the best foods I possibly can with the likes of my nieces and my nephews and any kids that I have in the future. I want the exact same for them as what you had when you were growing up. The turnips, the Swedes in the ground, the spuds. There's kids in school, you ask them where do the potatoes come from, they go, the shop. They stay in the shop. And they're not joking, they're as honest and straight shooting, because there's no malice in them. They're just trying to they're only telling you what they know. And that's all they know. They don't have the uncle, they don't have the auntie who lives out in West Waterford, who has the polytunnel, or has the pigs, or has the chickens. That's becoming less and less, because my generation are going into the cities. They're going up to Dublin, they're going off to Sydney, they're going to America, and they're not coming back, and they're not looking after the land as much anymore. There's only less than 4% registered organic producers in Ireland. There's less than 1% registered fruit and veg, because it's hard to make money off it. Because I have no problem working, like you nearly know by looking at me, and the jobs that I've done, and the weeding that goes on, and you know yourself how difficult it is to produce some veg for yourself. Never mind trying to make money off it, and then go into a restaurant and someone says, how much are them tomatoes? And I say, it's $3.50 a punnet. $3.50 a punnet? I can get them for way cheaper inside the shop. I say, go off and get them ones. Today's taste, nothing like them. That's the idea. We need to get back to real foods and get people to taste it and say, Jesus, this is amazing. I want to eat more of these foods out the other side of it. Yeah. I'm conscious of time as well. This says 47 minutes. How long are we staying here? 3 hours? What time are we thinking of wrapping it up, or what way do you?
9:30.
9:30. Absolutely amazing. So what time are we now clocking?
Yeah, that's usually including the raffle.
Including so we're starting a raffle at 9:30. We can book into the hotel, they said. Oh God. Right, so what we'll do is, I'd love to open it up for even 15 wide range of veg. So just put up a couple of photos. Like, those are just different things that you can grow and earn very, very easily, chemical free. French beans. Anyone ever grow them?
Yes.
The variety I recommend is Cobra. They grow up a string line of bamboos, 2-3 bamboos, making a teepee. You sow 4 on each one, it goes all the way up. Very few pests, very few diseases. Beans, again, are a no-brainer because they give nitrogen to the soil. You're feeding the soil. You can grow other things in and around that, like spinach or beetroot. Beetroot increases your energy levels. Who here would like more energy? Lovely. Did you know that beetroot can reduce wrinkles? The beetroot sales have gone through the roof. The seeds have been sold out all across Ireland. Jesus Christ, there's a fellow down in Waterford, he said beetroot reduces wrinkles. They're gone. Gone. Okay, so add beetroot to your diet. Get it in as much as you possibly can. Cabbage, no-brainer. But you must cover the cabbages with the likes of that netting. That netting was there and is here. It's called bio-netting. That's definitely well worth a purchase. It is expensive, but will save you and all your lovely brassicas, whether it's Brussels sprouts, to cauliflowers, to Romanesco, to cabbages being eaten by it. That one there is your broad beans. That's a real easy one. You put in seeds now, and as a result of that, they grow big, huge, tall plants. More certainly, it might have to be staked like I had, I'm sure, like that, yeah, staked up there about 3 foot. They're 4 foot posts, and they literally grow up. There's all the beans all the way along there. Couldn't be simpler. Pop them out, have them raw, add them to curries, you name it. Salads, the colours, antioxidants. Antioxidants reduce stress. The more of them you have in your diet, the better. Antioxidants are colours, right? The reds, the purples, the greens, the cabbages, the leeks, the whole lot. It's a lovely one to add to anything. Right, there's the tomatoes. Probably my favourite veg. In fact, it's actually a fruit, but more so thing to grow. The taste is incomparable. It's one of those ones that really is top of my list for getting more people to either try. You sow them in the month of February. When do you sow them? Amazing. You're all listening. Oh, you're very good. Oh, you're very good. So that's beefy tomato here, typically iris. There's sun gold. There's sweet aperitif. Just all traditional varieties. Look at that. That kale, amazing. Cauliflower, not a speck on it, but because it's been grown underneath the likes of that cloche, okay, that's a protector from the likes of heavy raindrops, and also protecting from the cabbage white butterfly, which is and has lays its eggs underneath the leaf that you wouldn't see. Alright, eat the rainbow. Parsnips, courgettes, rainbow chard. What's that one? Minzuna. That's rocket here on this side. And rainbow chard, another really easy one. Same family as beetroot. And remember actually that fact that beetroot leaves can be eaten. They're high in iron, they're high in magnesium. So if you're growing the beetroot, you get the swollen stem and you get the leaves as well. Yeah, spinach. Yeah, Popeye was onto a good one. Yeah. I'm sure there are chilies there as well, right? Some chilies and peppers. I don't always recommend the peppers to people. Who here would like to grow peppers? Love it. Who here has grown peppers? Right, that's even better. How many peppers did you get? 2 are going well. Right, so max that I've gotten, right, and I've put myself up as a decent grower, I have got 4.5, so like 4 in a smallie, like that one in the corner. And for the time, you sow them in February, not March, not April, not May, not June, not July, August. 6 months later, someone say 2? Jesus, lads, you know what I mean? You grow the exact same amount of space a tomato plant. Like a cherry tomato plant could give you 100 if you even double trained it, which is another tip that I have doing some different allotments. Onions, get them in the ground. Just is the simplest thing in the world. You get an onion set, right? Just in case, because this happens to loads of people. Okay, I was at a grow your own course, I won't mention where it was, and as a result of it, I said, onions, they're the easiest vegetable ever to grow. You cannot go wrong. And someone says, I can never get them to grow. I just said, well, I'll get you there at the end of the we'll talk about that. I said, what happened? And she said, just catch the onion. You really gather like that. And I push it straight into the ground. And I just said, well, Jesus, well, do you know what, Sarah? I tell you, they'll never grow for you like that. Why is that? Because you're putting them in upside down. Right? There is a tail, which can be confusing for people. It goes up. And the roots, the tiny little roots, they go down into the ground. So it goes always like that, never like this. Okay? So just in case, you know what I mean? I love that quote. I mean, intelligent people learn from their own mistakes. Geniuses learn from other people's mistakes. Alright? So there we go. We're all learning it. There was someone that didn't know that one. Well worth, I suppose, adding that to the arsenal itself. So those are the different onions. Amazing. There's parsnips here. A wide variety of salads. Courgettes couldn't be easier. And those there are Jerusalem artichokes. Anyone ever grow those?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, some people no, and some people yes. Alright, so why firstly go yes?
Sorry, I was going to say I love to eat them, but I've never grown them.
Oh, very good. So we've someone that's grown them here?
Yeah,
Mhm.
they go everywhere.
They do go everywhere.
And I wasn't that keen on eating them either. They're a very good laxative.
Laxative, yeah. They're high in a type of fibre called inulin. Okay, inulin is very good for feeding your beneficial gut bacteria, and it's also commonly known as fartichokes. It's a natural thing. I don't know what you're laughing at. You should. So right, that's just well worth noting. You don't need loads of them. They have no blight. They actually are carbon, very good for sequestering carbon, taking in carbon from the atmosphere and putting it back down to the ground. That slows down global warming because there's a lot of pollution at this moment in time and chemicals between spraying them and then driving the tractors that spray the chemicals. It's an endless cycle of what we're on now, but we're trying to change that trajectory. As I said, we're under 4% fully registered organic, and it's the idea that from here on, this class or group of individuals either grows a bit and or supports someone that's growing organically or chemical free from today on. So that's well worth noting. Jerusalem artichokes, they don't get blight. They're edible tuber, and they go in a corner and they stay in a corner, and they also produce a nice little flower at the end. Yeah, that some people like, some people don't like, and it's an easy one to grow. Will anyone be able to identify some of those leaves?
First lane.
This one? Mustard leaf, yeah, we'll give it to you. Yeah? Mizuna, yeah. Anyone see? You might be able to see it. Ah, you could. Coriander, yeah. I actually even remember that harvest, you know. It was actually on a Tuesday, and I was like, what is this inside it? It was a coriander, literally a raw coriander seed that got into it. Yeah, it was because it's rare to have a mix of coriander in it. And that was my mixed salad bag. So that's winter purslane or claytonia, definitely my favourite salad. Right? Has anyone not tried it yet?
No.
Oh my God, we'd have to get it to you. Also known as, I'm going to say, miner's lettuce. It's high in vitamin C. If you're taking vitamin C tablets, or you would like, I'm going to say, better skin, that's what you eat. All of them, but this one in particular. It's called claytonia or winter purslane. my favourite lettuce. Winter purslane. Don't ask a dyslexic to spell it, but I will. Purslane. Purslane. But Claytonia will also work. Yeah. Tiny black seeds, you typically sow them in the month of September, and you will get a small harvest before Christmas, and then now when it's in the tunnel, in a tunnel typically, it will flourish because we've got that warm, lovely sunny weather today, but it is cold at night. So
Once you have it, it always comes back.
once you have it, it always comes back. It sells seeds. So same like that. So buy your pack of seeds once, and you're absolutely onto a winner then. Clean cut, easy to grow veg. Tomatoes, potatoes. I'm pretty sure I just did that for the photograph. One spud. That's Red Duke of York. Anyone ever try that spud? Delish. Courgettes. Couldn't be easier. And who here has ever grown courgettes?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you the mistake that I made the first time I grew these. Do you know sometimes you often get maybe 5 or 6 in a pack? I was growing commercially when I first started. See them tunnels? I grew 26. I could have fed the parish. The parish's parish. The GA pitch further down the road parish, inclusive of all those people connected to their family and their cousins. Oh my God. I had to get hens to start eating courgette. I came up with recipes. I was grating courgette into my porridge. I was putting my courgette bread. I was bringing home, do you want courgette? My mother says, no, stay up there. We've seen you last weekend. Don't bring any more of them yellow courgettes. No. She loves me, honestly. Mammy power loves me. So that's I suppose I just put in, a little bit about fitness. It's so similar to the likes of, I'm going to say, growing. It's the idea that literally what you're consistently doing, you will gain the rewards of. Okay? And how you do anything is how you do everything. Like, weeds don't grow overnight, no matter how much people think they do. Right? That there is weeded with that magic oscillating hoe, the beetroot as well. And I just really love showing people that that's the type of produce you can grow without the likes of harsh chemicals. And that was fully registered with the likes of the Soil Association, with the likes of Organic Trust, and I got regular inspections and I had to pay a minimum of €250 because, and people say, God, Colman, can I trust the produce that's inside in the shops? I want you either go straight to the farm or go straight to a country market where you try and shake the hand that feeds you. That's what I want for absolutely everybody. Because when I sat at a country market and I'd spent a year growing a vegetable, I was delighted to literally give somebody that produce. They say, Johnny loves the tomatoes and the onions, spring onions, they taste class. Do you know what I mean? The ones you get inside in the shop, they sure as hell don't have this. And all that part is edible. The skin is edible on every beetroot, the skin is edible on a carrot and the parsnips, and stop peeling this stuff. You're wasting half the thing trying to straighten it out. Nobody wants a straight carrot. You're putting it, chopping it and air frying it and roasting it anyway, or putting it in a stew. Keep the skin on it. Most of the benefits are found in there, but also remember, most of the chemicals are found on that too. So that's why it's well worth to really put more money towards the likes of your food items that you have in itself. That's it. Tips for the likes of weeds: increase the spacing. The likes of airflow, very important, and consistency. Every 12 days I ran a little bit of an onion hoe and an oscillating hoe in between those, and that is literally, there's one there, see one weed there. I forgot, I must have took that Sunday off. Right, there's just images again of all the different, I'm going to say, different French beans, courgettes, cucumbers. Must be grown inside in a polytunnel. Wait till April. If you sow them too early, then what ends up happening is it's going to have cool nights, and they don't like the cold. Okay? Colour. Yeah, I suppose I found a niche and I wanted colourful foods. Chilies are better than peppers. You get a hell of a lot more chilies out of them as well. But the idea is microgreens. Anyone ever taste them?
Yeah.
They're the easiest thing ever. You literally you grow mustard seeds, you grab a glass or a cup or a yogurt container, fill it with soil. Where do you get soil? Dig a hole outside, free again. And if you bought one packet of rocket seeds, they're after self-seeding, you grab those and have them saved, sprinkle them there, put them up in the windowsill with your yogurt tub. 14 days later, after a little bit of water, you have microgreens that you can really harvest, put into your with your eggs, have with your soup and sandwiches, and with your lovely fish dinners that I have up on Instagram and Facebook that you can check out as well. Like, those are things that are high in antioxidants, and antioxidants reduce stress, they reduce inflammation, they help with all your health ailments. But the thing is, there's no one here overeating on fruit or veg, not even me. Yeah, so that's one thing I want you to do going out the other side of it after the likes of today. Using your body as fuel. That's it. These are just meals that I make and recommend. Fish, steak, salads, mustard, winter purslane. Couldn't go out without it. That's spinach, that's perpetual spinach, that's the red onions you saw, there's the courgettes, can't get enough of them. Tomatoes, you name it, all there. Garlic, another simple one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the floor to Q&A as best I possibly can, if that's okay, yeah? Yes?
I'm curious about cold storage, if you have any tips for the harvesting and protecting.
Great question about, so storing fruits and vegetables at different times of year, because there is a bit of a glut, let's say of the tomatoes, for example, in the middle of summer. I'm the laziest, healthiest fella in Ireland, I must tell you. When tomatoes come on, I grab the big, massive, I'm going to say cherry tomatoes, I open the freezer, I open the drawer, I drop it in, I close it. People are overcomplicated, and this is just me telling you, this is what I do. You can make sausage, you can get the big pots, you can do all that stuff. You grab a big, huge cherry tomato, plum as well, grab it, put them inside in a freezer, and as a result of that, you have 50 cherry, plum, I'm going to say beefy tomatoes ready to use in stews. Someone asked me that question as well, similar one to the last day, and I just said, yeah, and you take them out and you put them out, and they're like, and they come out perfect? I was like, no, they don't come out perfect, but you can put them into stews, they won't come out, like, they don't unfreeze and just be like, ah. No, they are, I suppose, a bit withered, and as a result of that, they must be put in stews or made sauces out of it for your pastas, and those are things to be eaten in season, I suppose, for the matter of the winter months. We're looking for a boost in vitamin C, which is good for your immune system, and that's something I would do with apples. Grab it, drop it, freezer. Take it out, apple, in your slow cooker with the likes of any of your meats on a Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, any day of the week for that matter. So freezing it is an absolute no-brainer. You say, I don't have a big freezer, I'm a problem solver. Buy a bigger chest freezer. Right? But that's definitely well worth chance in itself. You can make pesto with the amount of basil, is another real easy one, and that's well worth doing because you also add a healthy fat, whether it's olive oil, which is high in omega-3, which is anti-inflammatory at the same time. Basil or basil is something that, a holy basil is a really good one. And you sow that again maybe in April, goes into a tunnel. A little tip that I pass on and wrote about in the book, how to prolong. I don't have problems with keeping the basil plant alive. Yes. Right? Tip is, if you get the one from the discount stores, whatever happens is, they already have you set up for failure. They put about 20 in one. How often would you set 20 seeds inside in one container? Not often. Because as a result of that, then its root bound is taking up all, you're grown and taking up all the water into one pot and container, and what happens is it can't survive. Then it's literally an absolute winning success rate for the likes of that company. You paid it €3, $3.50 one day. Next 2 weeks you go back in again, kill it again, $2.50, whatever it is, $4.50. You keep coming back in, rinse and repeat. Tip is, if you're buying that one, divide it and only leave 4 in the one pot. Prolong the life, more space, and you only take the top 2 emerging leaves because it sends out 2 side shoots, which then allow you to double and prolong the life of that basil plant in itself. So let's say there was 20 in it, 20 divided by 4, 5. Lovely, I did it quick. 5, so 5 different plants from 1. You do the exact same with your trade cells. Let's go on to the 77 cell tray, or these are the ones I like to use. If we can go back to the tunnel that has there. So I would sow 4 in there, 4 in here, 4 to 4 all the way, and I can transplant them directly into the soil in a polytunnel or a glass house, or put them into a pot and harvest the exact same way, taking only 1 and 2 of the top emerging leaves. Stop taking the bottom ones, or stripping it down, because what does a plant need for most certainly photosynthesis? It needs the leaves, but you keep taking off the leaves, so it can't literally continue to grow and make food for itself, and it's a losing battle. And you definitely want more than 1 plant, because what happens is you go, you know what, I have the mother-in-law, she's coming over and we have to make a big pasta bolognese, and you strip it dry on 1 plant. Of course you do, for 8, 10, 7 people. So that's definitely well worth doing if you want to have a better success rate with the likes of your basil.
I tried to grow beetroot, but I didn't find it easy. You know, it just wasn't, maybe it wasn't warm and hot enough, you know. but I mean, I'm just wondering, is it difficult to grow beetroot?
It's quite a large seed. It has very few pests and diseases. Boron disease is the only one that typically might come up, and as a result of that, you can get a foliar feed or water it with seaweed water. We're very close to the sea right now, being based in Dungarvan. But so the idea is, just because it didn't work one time, I would definitely recommend to try it again. And the idea is, if you think it might have been too warm or too cold.
Oh, cold.
Too cold. Right, but what? Right. When did we sow it? We'll try to learn a little bit. When did we sow? When did you sow?
It was a few years ago, but I love beetroot. You know what I mean? I just love it.
If you sow beetroot right now into the likes of a container, a tray, a pot, a yogurt tub, and I'm going to say within the stage where it starts to put out roots at the bottom of, let's say, that tray, that's why those are great, because that's a sure signal. You know when it's ready, when the roots start to come out here, and you have, I'm going to say, a sizable leafy foliage on top. As a result of that, you pop that out and put it into the ground. Once it's in the ground, literally within a matter of, I'm going to say, weeks, it starts to swell its stem, and as a result of that, you can both eat the likes of the leaves and the purple, I was going to say, root that you can get from it. Yeah, so definitely try it again, but sowing at this time of year, like you didn't tell me yet, I'm only asking more, you could have sowed it in September, and as a result of that, you are going into winter. So,
Oh, no, it would have been over the summer, you know.
would have been over summer,
I
okay?
think I got those seeds up at Bloom, and that's where I got them. So I sowed it then, you know.
Did they germinate?
Summer. What?
Did it germinate?
It did, but they were tiny. Beetroot.
Beetroot does take a long time, so it'll take over 4 months to grow.
That was September, you know, at the time. But they hadn't grown very much, you know.
Hadn't grown very much. Right, well, the idea is put them into a warmer conditioned area. You can make that cloche. The cheapest polytunnel you can possibly make is getting a piece of plastic, leaning it up against the wall, and then, or on its side, and putting two together, so just like this, of doors, windows that people are throwing out. You just lean them together. That's the cheapest way you can literally make a polytunnel for growing beetroot, that little bit quicker, increasing the temperature. But just remember to open it up to make sure, because you are going to need to water, because it's a mini polytunnel now.
Would it be possible to grow them in a big pot? Because I don't have much garden, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
raised beds, pots, definitely, you certainly can. There's people growing in, going to say, half a foot, beetroots, salads, all your different orientals, because it has a shallow, say, root system. So that's how you know you're able to grow it in. So anything over a half a foot be perfect for growing beetroot, yeah?
Is it okay to take the leaves and eat them while the beet is still...
Yeah, very good question. So if you want to slow down the rate of anything, let's say you have a load of beetroot, you sowed 70, you got a packet of seeds of beetroot seeds, you sow 70, but you don't want 70 all on sow them in February, March, April, May, the first week of June. You don't want 70 beetroot the first week of June. What you can do is, on half of them, 35, you pick the larger leaves off and it will slow it down. Right? We can slow down the growth. That's a great question, but it's a great tip to slow down any plant for that matter.
Well, I just wanted to eat it, but that's fine.
But I wouldn't be getting you to pick it and throw it away. But slow that down there. No, grab that and put that in your salad. Right? So that's a really good one. Great question.
Can I ask you about the side shoots of the tomatoes?
You certainly can.
Right.
And what's the question?
I think I read this on your site, you see, about growing an extra shoot
Yeah, you can, yeah.
to get more tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I usually take them off, you see.
You
Will
can,
yours do?
yeah, right. But I'm actually, what I'm doing there is I'm showing off. Right, so you can grow 2, you can actually grow 3. Right, so I did it in a tunnel last year where you keep one of the side shoots at the very start. Right, so it'll have your main
Quite
lead,
low then.
the lowest you possibly
I
can.
always take them off.
Yeah, right. And you're mad keen grower. You're like, well, I saw this one and I'm gonna take it straight off. Okay. But if you were to not grow hydroponics, if you were to grow and look after, there's in the first picture, your tomatoes and save a side shoot from here or anywhere really for the most part. But the sooner you do it, the better. There's only one there. I'm sure I started it down in that tunnel. I started practicing. Okay, having a main leader, but also having a second main leader going this way. So then I planted all my tomatoes in the middle and have one going left and one going right. That doubles the amount of fruits. Doubles the amount of flowers, doubles the amount of fruits. Okay, that's how you maximize. So if you didn't have this, if you only had that much, you would double the amount. You can do it on, typically it's great to do it up to 3. But also remember, there's a lot more side shoots and you can get confused. So that's me showing off, and I'm going into the tunnel once a week with that class to go, this is how we do it fancy. But for the most part, keep it simple. One main leader, take off the side shoot. Every side shoot, and if you're looking for more tips, they're free on my YouTube channel, Colman Power Organic Fitness. That's all my channels, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, all those. So you grow one main leader. Anytime there's a leaflet, there's a side shoot. A leaflet, a side shoot. A leaflet, a side shoot. After a couple of leaflets, there is a flower. So don't take off the flowers, because every flower turns into the likes of a fruit, but some people still take off the flowers. So you're better off to slow down and wait till they get bigger for you to start taking them off. But if you wanted to try it, keep one of the first ones here, and the rest of them go. The rest of the side shoots go. And the only really way that I can show people is if they were to, in person, or watch some of the YouTube videos. In person, I teach people. I love to educate people in itself. Actually, while I'm doing that, if anyone wants more information on different grow your own courses or nutrition, you literally just put your name, your email, and your name there. If you want to have more information from myself, you can do that. So that's a great question about the, I'm going to say tomatoes, because like everyone loves tomatoes, and the idea is to literally grow as many of them as you possibly can, but make sure that you don't take off the flowers, so that literally you can gain the advantage of having those fruits. Because if you jump the gun and go, I'm trying this new thing, and Colman told me get rid of the side shoots, and we took off all the side shoots and there's no flowers at the top of it, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're literally just growing a plant. And you know how much I love and want you to grow your own food, so keep the flowers on it in itself. Any other question?
Tips on companion planting.
Tips on companion planting. Yeah, the idea of the onions and garlic and leeks definitely have a strong scent to, I'm going to say, keep away carrot root fly and stuff like that. But I prefer, most certainly, it isn't something I rely on myself. If you were looking at a pest, such as a carrot root fly, put the netting over it. Put it up high as well, have a raised bed. Carrot root fly can't actually fly visually, he only hops and jumps. So having it in a raised bed, which I don't have, but I also use on my carrots, that netting that's out the back there. Right, so that's definitely something that I would suggest to more and more people, that if they are looking to control a pest like that. Any other pests in particular?
No, just wants to know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I use marigolds at the tops of the doors that also keep out green fly. But also what I do is I increase the spacing. I don't have a lot of problem with pests. Slugs, I control them with the likes of the tips in relation to watering. There are different varieties of greens, like salads, that the slugs and snails prefer, right? And you will find that out yourself. Iceberg, they absolutely love it. Lovely, soft, leafy vegetation. Okay, if you keep putting down a plant and they keep on eating it, what you can do is, it's just like remembering in school. The bullies, the slugs, only pick on the small guys. Don't transplant them out too early, right? There's also something I do. It's called plant tickling. It strengthens up a plant before you put it into the ground. So none of the seedlings that are in the tray, if you were to run your hand across those, okay, that's something that literally, there we go, is something that strengthens up the plant. Just say you're standing here, you're working your core, you're doing that exercise, you're bending left, you're bending right. When you're, yeah, it is, but plants are so similar to humans. They're not the exact same, if you know what I mean. But they have to defend themselves slightly differently. So they are meant to be outside, in the wind, blowing when it's not stormy, and just on a normal day. But when they're inside in the comfort of your warm windowsill, and then we go, do you know what? You're kicked out now, teenager, and they're too young. Right? They didn't learn all the small skills and tips of strengthening themselves up, going left and right. So that's a way of, firstly, grounding. Grounding is a natural way of de-stressing, and it's something that I recommend to people. That's touching your hand off soil, and the soil in between, like my fingernails still from this morning spuds. And that's something that's a natural de-stressor, right? Most people would love to be most certainly happier, or most certainly would say, I'm sure you would agree. And that's literally getting outside. Everything to do with health is linked with outside. We live in an environment where there's artificial light, there's heating absolutely belting on. We have jackets, we have scarves, we have hats, you name it. We go from here to the likes of the car, we turn on the heating full belt in the car. We go home to our houses, we turn on the heating, we go in and we say, we'll light the fire, we'll boil the kettle, we go to the bedroom, we turn on the electric blanket. We never leave the comfort of the heated environment. We are meant to have a small bit of stress on the body, whether it's going to say going outside, touching and exposing ourselves to the elements of the 4 seasons that we get in Ireland in one day. And that's what actually keeps us and strengthens our immune system. If you constantly live in a heated environment, you are much more likely to get sick. That's the same way, or get attacked by a pest or disease, you know what I mean, or if you're a fruit or a vegetable.
Any tips on making compost?
Any tips on making compost? Yes, I certainly would. There is, I suppose, a method called the New Zealand compost. It's 3 different bays. Did I look at an image today? I did. It was an image that I had for a different course, right? It's something that when you have a system that we're using brown and green material, okay? Your brown material is seaweed, is cardboard, is manure that's been well broken down on the bottom layer, okay? From that you put green material such as the tomatoes or the pea shoots or any of the vegetation that we don't eat, the larger outer leaves of the cabbage. But the secret ingredient in that is when you're getting your lawn or your grass cut, put in a handful of that, okay? Anyone ever put their hand on freshly cut grass in a pile? What's it feel like? Hot. It speeds up the process, okay? Getting that ratio right with the size of your compost heap, whether it's a pallet size wide or anything else, is something that you kind of have to work on a little bit. There's a little bit of science behind it, and for the most part I don't try to get into that. I just get people to try, right? So brown material mixed with green, but in the green material you have to have that grass clipping to speed it up. So now we could have cut grass today if you were available, or somebody was cutting grass and people are throwing it away for free. You want that in your compost to mix it round, and then the aeration from one section to the next will also help. And then when it gets to the third one, after a period of time, it's something that can have nutrients be applied directly back out into the soil. Yeah, so that's definitely what compost. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yep.
Is there such thing as organic slug tags?
Yeah.
You know the way I've just bought and it says organic, so I just use that.
Yeah, there is organic slug pellets.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is organic slug pellets. Definitely, there is that issue
So
with.
if you don't want to water, if you're used to watering in the evening time.
If you use the water in the evening time,
Yeah.
you are able to use those and they are registered organic. It's just the fact that some birds then do eat them and there's issues and complications with them. But for the most part, they can be registered organic if the material is organic. For something to be registered organic, where it's a food item, those onion sets, those seeds, they just have to be grown without the likes of harsh chemicals. Or let's say let's take an example, baby food, because I was holding an organic one there just before I came here. It's have to have 95% of its ingredients organic. There can be that margin of 5% that's not registered organic.
And for say for tomato plants, for the fungus, the way in summertime it can get very hot